There is a force within you right now, stronger than every disappointment, greater than every betrayal, and more powerful than the absence of anyone who failed to stand by you. When people walk away, when support disappears, when the world turns its back on you, the infinite mind turns toward you. In the silence of being alone, a new strength is born, the strength of a mind aligned with divine power. You are not meant to depend on the presence of others. You are meant to depend on the limitless presence within you. The moment you stop waiting for someone to save you, the universe begins to move in your favor. When no one believes in you, the subconscious responds to the belief you hold about yourself. When no one lifts you up, the divine intelligence lifts you higher. When no one supports you, the unseen support of the universe surrounds you. Today, you will learn the greatest secret of advancement. You do not rise because people help you. You rise because the power within you becomes unstoppable. This speech is your reminder that solitude is not a weakness. It is the birthplace of destiny. You have everything you need within your own consciousness to go further, rise higher, and achieve more than anyone ever imagined. When external support disappears, when the voices around you fall silent, and when the people you relied on suddenly step away, something powerful begins to awaken within you, a strength that was always there, yet often overshadowed by the presence and opinions of others. It is in these quiet, lonely, and uncertain moments that your inner power becomes its strongest. This is not a poetic idea. It is a spiritual law, a psychological truth, and a hidden advantage that only reveals itself when you walk alone. When you no longer have someone to lean on, you begin leaning on yourself, and in doing so, you discover resources you never knew you had. You learn to listen to your own intuition instead of waiting for guidance from the outside. You learn to trust your own decisions instead of seeking approval. You learn to move forward even when no one is there to tell you that you are capable. This self-reliance triggers a deep transformation within the subconscious mind, activating qualities that remain dormant as long as you are dependent on others. Resilience, clarity, inner confidence, mental strength, and spiritual alignment. People often underestimate their abilities when they have external support because the mind becomes comfortable. Support can make you passive, expecting others to solve problems, share responsibilities, or provide direction. But when support disappears, the mind awakens, becomes alert, becomes fully alive. The subconscious mind stops waiting for someone else's strength and begins releasing your own. This is when your creativity increases, your focus sharpens, and your determination becomes unstoppable. Problems that once seemed intimidating suddenly feel manageable because you are no longer diluted by the doubts or opinions of anyone else. You see with your own eyes, think with your own mind, and move with your own courage. Adversity has a mysterious way of revealing your true power. When people abandon you, misunderstand you, or fail to show up for you, it forces you to meet the version of yourself that is not defined by relationships, approval, or support. You begin to notice the quiet but mighty voice within the voice that says, "I can handle this. I can move forward. I am stronger than I thought." Every challenge you face alone becomes proof that you carry more strength, more intelligence, and more ability than you previously recognized. You grow in ways that comfort could never teach you. When the outside world stops holding your hand, the inner world starts guiding your steps. The divine intelligence within you becomes louder, more visible, more accessible. This inner guidance is far more accurate than any external advice because it comes from a place of higher wisdom. When you are alone, there are no distractions. Your mind becomes more receptive to the ideas, insights, and inspirations that rise from the subconscious. You start acting from intuition instead of fear, from clarity instead of confusion, from inner certainty instead of external validation. This is why so many breakthroughs in life come during periods of solitude. When no one is clapping for you, you learn to clap for yourself. When no one motivates you, you learn the discipline of self-motivation. When no one understands your vision, you learn the power of believing in a dream that only you can see. Your inner power grows the most when you have no choice but to rely on it. And once it awakens, once you feel its strength, once you realize how capable you truly are, you become unstoppable, no matter who stands with you or who walks away. Self-belief is not just a positive thought or a motivational concept. It is a spiritual force, a mental law, and a subconscious command that shapes the direction of your life. When you believe in your own ability, you activate the hidden mechanisms of the subconscious mind, which begin working tirelessly to move you toward the results you expect. This is why self-belief is far more than confidence. It is the engine of progress, the foundation of success, and the internal signal that tells the universe what you are ready to receive. The subconscious mind does not respond to wishful thinking or to the opinions of others. It responds to the dominant belief you hold about yourself. When you believe you are capable, worthy, and equipped to create something meaningful, the subconscious begins to align everything: your thoughts, emotions, creativity, problem-solving abilities, and intuition with that belief. It starts opening mental doors that were previously closed, revealing ideas, solutions, and opportunities that match your inner expectation. This is the invisible process behind what many call luck or timing, but in truth, it is the manifestation of internal certainty. Self-belief also redirects the mind away from fear and toward action. Without belief, every challenge looks bigger, every setback feels final, and every goal appears out of reach. Doubt weakens the mind, drains energy, and creates hesitation. But the moment you shift from doubt to belief, the entire mental atmosphere changes. Obstacles become puzzles instead of threats. Delays become lessons instead of defeats. Fear becomes smaller because belief activates courage, and courage activates momentum. A person who believes in themselves will try one more time, take one more step, ask one more question, and push through one more barrier. This consistent forward movement is what separates those who advance from those who stay stuck. When you hold a strong belief in yourself, you also stop depending on external validation. You no longer wait for someone to approve your ideas, praise your effort, or reassure you that you are on the right path. You begin moving with an inner stability that does not shake when people doubt you or remain silent. The subconscious mind thrives on consistent belief, and when your mind is rooted in self-trust, your emotional energy becomes calm, steady, and focused. You stop seeking strength from the outside and begin generating it from within. This inner strength is what makes your progress unstoppable, even in environments where support is limited or non-existent. Your belief also becomes a magnet for resources. Ideas come faster. People who match your energy or purpose begin appearing. Opportunities you once overlooked suddenly stand out. You start recognizing pathways that were invisible before, because belief sharpens perception. The subconscious does not just react to the world, it filters the world in a way that supports your intention. A person with strong self-belief sees openings where others see walls, solutions where others see problems, and possibilities where others see limitations. Most importantly, self-belief creates emotional resilience. Life will bring setbacks, rejections, failures, and delays. No one escapes them. But a mind filled with belief does not collapse under pressure. It adapts, evolves, and persists. You become someone who does not need perfect circumstances to move forward. You simply need faith in your own capacity. Every time you choose belief over doubt, you strengthen the inner force that leads you forward. And once this force becomes active, once it begins shaping your thoughts, choices, and actions, the path ahead becomes clearer, smoother, and far more achievable than you ever imagined. Solitude is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness or isolation, but in truth, it is one of the greatest spiritual advantages a person can experience. When you step away from the noise, the expectations, and the constant influence of others, you tap into a reservoir of inner clarity that cannot be found in crowds. Solitude is not emptiness, it is space. It is not a lack of people, it is the presence of your true self. And when you embrace this space with awareness, you begin to uncover abilities, insights, and strengths that can only be revealed in silence. When you are constantly surrounded by people, their voices, their opinions, their fears, and their doubts often merge with your own thinking. Without even realizing it, you can begin to shape your decisions around their expectations rather than your own purpose. But when you are alone, that mental fog begins to dissolve. You start to hear your own thoughts clearly. You begin to sense what you truly desire instead of what you've been conditioned to want. This internal clarity is the first great gift of solitude, and it becomes a powerful advantage when you learn to trust it. Solitude also strengthens intuition. When the world becomes quiet, the subconscious mind becomes louder. Ideas rise to the surface more easily. Solutions appear more naturally. Inspiration flows without interruption. You become more sensitive to the gentle inner guidance that is always available but often drowned out by external noise. This intuitive wisdom is far more trustworthy than the random opinions of people who do not understand your path. In solitude, you become tuned to this higher guidance, which can lead you toward opportunities, decisions, and breakthroughs that you might have missed under the influence of others. Another advantage of solitude is emotional independence. When you learn to sit with yourself, your fears, your dreams, your doubts, your strengths, you begin to build a relationship with your own mind. You learn that you do not need constant reassurance. You do not need approval. You do not need someone to continuously encourage you. You begin to generate your own motivation, your own discipline, and your own sense of worth. This inner independence becomes a shield that protects you from the emotional ups and downs caused by external judgments. You become stable, centered, and calm because your value is no longer determined by anyone outside of you. Solitude also unlocks an extraordinary level of focus. When you are away from distractions, your mind stops scattering in multiple directions. It gathers its energy and directs it into the present task or goal. This deep focus accelerates progress, enhances productivity, and allows you to work with a level of intensity that few people ever experience. Many great thinkers, creators, and innovators produced their best work during periods of solitude, not because they rejected society, but because they embraced the silence that allowed greatness to emerge. But perhaps the most powerful advantage of solitude is transformation. When you are alone, you cannot hide behind people, routines, or distractions. You meet the raw truth of your potential. You see what needs to change, what needs to grow, and what needs to be released. In this inner space, healing happens. Strength is rebuilt. Vision becomes clearer. You reconnect with the deeper part of yourself, the part that is fearless, capable, and connected to something greater than the physical world. Solitude is not a punishment, it is preparation. It is the training ground for greatness, the birthplace of inner power, and the environment where the subconscious mind reveals its fullest potential. Those who learn to use solitude do not feel lonely, they feel empowered, guided, and unstoppable. They rise from silence with a strength that no external force can shake. Waiting for others to validate you is one of the quietest forms of self-limitation. It traps your potential behind the invisible walls of approval, keeping you dependent on reactions, opinions, and encouragement from people who may never fully understand your path. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to confirm your worth, your dreams, your ideas, or your direction, a powerful shift takes place inside you. You step into your own authority. You reclaim your own voice. You move forward with a certainty that no external validation could ever give you. This inner shift becomes the turning point of your growth, because true progress begins the moment you stop asking for permission to become who you already know you can be. Validation is temporary, inconsistent, and often unreliable. One day people will praise you, and the next day they may criticize you for the very same thing. If your confidence depends on their approval, your progress will constantly rise and fall with their moods, their insecurities, their misunderstandings, and their limited perspectives. But when you release the need to be validated, you free yourself from emotional dependency. You become stable, you become grounded. You become someone who moves from inner conviction rather than external encouragement. This stability is what allows you to rise faster because your direction is no longer tied to the unpredictable opinions of others. At the core of this principle is the subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not work with validation from others. It works with the beliefs you hold about yourself. The more you rely on outside approval, the more you weaken your inner belief. The more you strengthen inner belief, the less you need outside approval. It is a perfect psychological law. When you choose self-belief, your subconscious responds by giving you clarity, courage, discipline, and creative insight. But when you wait for someone to validate you, your subconscious senses hesitation, and hesitation blocks progress. Once you stop waiting, once you decide that your belief is enough, the subconscious begins aligning everything in your favor because it finally has a clear inner command. When you stop seeking validation, you also begin taking action faster. Many people delay their goals because they want someone to say, "Yes, this is a good idea," or "Go for it," or "You're doing the right thing." But real momentum happens when you move without waiting. Every action builds confidence. Every step sharpens your skills. Every attempt teaches you something valuable. This self-generated momentum becomes unstoppable because it is fueled by internal certainty, not external applause. You rise faster, not because life becomes easier, but because nothing slows you down, not doubt, not hesitation, not fear of judgment. Another powerful effect of releasing the need for validation is freedom of expression. When you are not trying to impress anyone, you think more boldly. You create more authentically. You pursue ideas that genuinely match who you are, rather than ideas shaped for acceptance. This authenticity not only strengthens your inner confidence, but also attracts better opportunities, better people, and better environments. When you no longer mold yourself to fit in, you naturally stand out. And in standing out, you open doors that conformity could never unlock. Letting go of validation also protects your emotional energy. When you place your worth in the hands of others, their silence can feel like rejection, and their disapproval can feel like failure. But when you anchor your worth within yourself, you become emotionally untouchable. Criticism does not break you, it teaches you. Doubt from others does not slow you, it motivates you. You begin to understand that external opinions are reflections of their minds, not your capabilities. This understanding builds resilience, a deep, unshakable strength that accelerates your journey. Ultimately, rising faster is not about rushing, it is about moving with inner authority. When you stop waiting for others to validate you, your path becomes clearer, your decisions become stronger, and your confidence becomes self-sustaining. You discover that your greatest progress begins not when the world believes in you, but when you believe in you. The universe does not respond to external circumstances. It responds to the internal state of your mind. What you consistently think, expect, and emotionally affirm becomes the vibration you send out, and that vibration influences the experiences, opportunities, and results that flow back into your life. Your mindset is the signal. Your circumstances are merely the temporary reflection of old thoughts. This is why two people in the same situation can produce completely different outcomes. One rises, another stays stuck, because the universe responds not to the situation itself, but to the dominant belief each person carries within. When your mindset is rooted in limitation, fear, or doubt, your energy becomes closed, your vision becomes narrow, and your actions become hesitant. The universe mirrors that uncertainty. It begins to match you with experiences that confirm those internal fears. Opportunities pass unnoticed, solutions seem far away, progress feels slow. This is not because the world is against you, it is because your inner expectation is shaping the outer experience. A closed mindset closes doors. A fearful mindset attracts more reasons to be afraid. This cycle continues until you consciously interrupt it by shifting your internal belief. But when your mindset is aligned with confidence, possibility, and faith, everything begins to shift, often quietly at first, then more visibly as your internal energy strengthens. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. Small signs of progress appear, and those signs grow stronger with every positive expectation you hold. Your subconscious mind becomes more cooperative, more creative, more intuitive. It begins to guide you toward the right people, the right ideas, and the right steps that align with your inner belief. The universe mirrors this readiness. It opens pathways, rearranges circumstances, and brings experiences that match the energy you have chosen to radiate. This is why mindset is more powerful than circumstances. Circumstances are temporary. Mindset is the architect of what comes next. Your outer world adjusts to the inner pattern you repeat. When you shift your internal pattern, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize. Belief expands possibilities, expectation opens doors. A positive mental atmosphere creates the conditions for growth, success, and forward movement. This isn't magic, it's a law of consciousness. You cannot hold a mindset of lack and expect abundance. You cannot hold a mindset of weakness and expect strength. The universe reflects your mental state with absolute precision. Your mindset also determines how you interpret events. Someone with a defeated mindset sees every delay as a sign to quit. Someone with a strong mindset sees the same delay as a sign to adjust and improve. The situation is identical, the interpretation is different, and therefore the result becomes different. This power of interpretation is one of the greatest tools of the human mind. When you interpret challenges as stepping stones, they become stepping stones. When you interpret them as walls, they become walls. In the end, the universe is always responding to you. Your mindset is the command, the direction, the signal that sets everything in motion. When you change the signal, you change the outcomes. When you align your mind with clarity, strength, and expectation of good, you invite the universe to match you with experiences that reflect that higher state. Your circumstances follow your consciousness, not the other way around. Your greatest breakthroughs rarely happen in moments of ease or comfort. They arise when you are forced to depend on the power within yourself. When you stop relying on external help, emotional support, or the presence of others to push you forward, you activate an inner strength that is far deeper and more reliable than anything outside of you. This inner power is not loud or dramatic, it is steady, intelligent, and always available. It waits for the moment you turn inward, and when you do, it begins guiding you with a clarity that external voices could never provide. When you rely on your inner power, you start trusting your own ability to handle challenges. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you rise to meet it. Instead of waiting for solutions to come from the outside, you generate solutions from within. This shift transforms the way you experience obstacles. What once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable, because your strength no longer depends on who supports you. It depends on who you decide to be. This self-generated strength leads to breakthroughs because it forces you to grow into a version of yourself that is braver, wiser, and far more capable than the person you were before. The absence of external help creates space for internal development. When no one is there to guide you, you learn to guide yourself. When no one is cheering for you, your subconscious mind becomes the source of your encouragement. This is where true confidence is born. Not confidence built on praise, but confidence built on experience, the experience of seeing yourself overcome things you once feared. Every time you solve a problem alone, every time you push through doubt without anyone reassuring you, every time you take a step in faith, even when no one is watching, your inner power grows stronger. It becomes your default source of strength, not your backup plan. Your inner power is also connected to intuition, the silent intelligence that gives you ideas, warnings, insights, and direction without needing logical explanation. When you stop depending on others, your intuition becomes sharper because you finally listen to it. You begin feeling when to move, when to wait, when to let go, and when to take bold action. This alignment with your inner guidance leads to breakthroughs that feel almost miraculous, sudden clarity, unexpected solutions, surprising opportunities. These are not coincidences. They are the natural result of trusting the intelligence that lives within you. Perhaps the greatest gift of relying on your inner power is resilience. When your strength comes from within, no external change can break you. People may leave, circumstances may shift, challenges may appear, but your foundation remains strong because it is rooted in your own consciousness. You are no longer fragile, no longer easily influenced, no longer dependent on the emotional weather around you. You become someone who can move forward in silence, who can grow without applause, and who can win without witnesses. Breakthroughs come when you rely on the power within, because that inner power is limitless. It does not tire, it does not weaken, and it does not depend on circumstances. Once you learn to trust it, you become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you becomes stronger than anything life puts in your path. In the end, everything you seek, strength, progress, clarity, guidance, and breakthrough, has been within you from the beginning. Life may not always provide support, applause, or companionship on your journey, but none of those things are required for you to rise. The absence of people is not the absence of power. The silence around you is not the silence within you. When the world steps back, the infinite mind steps forward, and your own subconscious becomes the greatest partner you will ever have. You now understand that your inner power grows strongest when external support fades. You see how self-belief activates unseen forces that work constantly for your good. You know that solitude is not a setback, but a sacred space where intuition becomes loud and your true self becomes clear. You have realized that waiting for validation only slows your destiny, and that moving from inner conviction accelerates your progress in extraordinary ways. You've seen how the universe responds not to circumstances, but to the energy and expectation of your own thoughts. And you've awakened to the truth that your greatest breakthroughs come when you rely on the vast, limitless power that lives within you. This entire journey has been a reminder of one simple truth: you are never alone, and you are never powerless. The source of all strength, all inspiration, all creativity, and all possibility is already inside you. When you trust it, when you listen to it, when you walk with it, even in the absence of support from others, you unlock a life that no obstacle can prevent and no circumstance can limit.